Hello everybody, my name is Khaled Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys how to operate and take full advantage of a Garmin Nuvi 350, 360, etc. GPS unit. So here I have the GPS unit. I'm going to show you. It's a nice compact little unit, and one of the most important things about this unit is the capability of its folding antenna. The antenna folds. Now every GPS which is equipped with a folding antenna will have much stronger satellite reception, satellite signal reception, because the antenna is separate away from all the other electronics, and it extends out with the minimum interference or minimum signal blockage between the antenna and the satellite. That's why if you live in an area where you have a limited satellite reception, or if you are in an area with tall buildings like downtowns, or like tall trees, mountains, valleys, places with limited sky visibility, you want a GPS with an external, or I should say fold-up antenna, which will give you better reception. The Garmin Nuvi 350 and 360 units are identical. The difference is that 360 has Bluetooth capability, which allows you to connect your smartphone or any Bluetooth enabled telephone to send and receive calls from your GPS screen, and it will allow you to even dial numbers and your contacts on the GPS screen. So it's pretty good to have the Bluetooth capability. I personally don't like any interference with my navigation, so the very reason I use a GPS instead of a smartphone is that the last thing you want is to be in the middle of a phone call and receive a phone call. I'm sorry, the last thing you want that you would be in the middle of driving to a destination and watching your GPS unit and receive a phone call, which will basically overtake the navigation. That's why I don't use my smartphone, because that's what happens when you use your smartphone for GPS. Also, if you're traveling to foreign countries, you do not want to use your smartphone for navigation unless you have unlimited data, because it's going to be extremely expensive if you have to pay for every single bit of data you're using when you're traveling abroad. Another important thing that you need to realize is that not everywhere you get cell phone coverage. A GPS unit has nothing to do with cell phone coverage. It connects to the satellite directly. You could be in the middle of nowhere in a desert with the nearest city hundreds of miles away and nearest cell phone tower hundreds of miles away. You still get clear reception from satellites when you have a GPS, a standalone GPS. Now, even though a smartphone antenna also connects to the GPS, however, the map data comes from the cell towers, unless you load the map on the smartphone internal memory, which usually you don't do that. Usually you use like Google Maps, and that is on the server on the Google Cloud, and you need to use phone data to operate that. Okay, so let's concentrate on this and let's focus on this GPS unit. One of the greatest features on this GPS unit is the capability of being able to leave the charger attached to the cradle, and every time you want to engage or disengage the GPS, you simply snap the cradle in. So you don't have to plug in and out the cable just to turn the GPS on and off. So there you go. The cable goes on the back, and whenever you're done navigating, you just simply press this tab underneath, you press it down, you disengage, and you flip the antenna, and you're all done. That's how you navigate. Okay, so I have one of these puppies mounted here, and we will start our tutorial with that. the first thing you need to do as soon as you get the GPS, or as soon as you are done installing all your maps and everything, you have to customize the GPS unit based on your specific needs. So that's what I'm going to basically concentrate and teach you how to customize the unit based on your needs. Now, first you go to settings and go to map. Map view. You have detailed view and normal view. I like detailed view. What's the difference? When you choose most view, look, all the small streets show up. But if you use normal view, the small streets are hidden unless you are driving on them. So basically, if I'm driving on Freeway 70, as you could see here, all the small streets on the side of the freeway are completely invisible. If I choose more, I see some of them. If I choose most, I see every single detail, including street names. The advantage of normal is that you have less clutter and less crowd on the screen, and it's a lot easier to drive. Less distractions and less information on the screen. But the problem with that is that if you are traveling and you see a lot of traffic and you have it on most, you could see from the map that, you know what, if you exit right here, you could bypass this traffic and re-enter the freeway because the whole picture is visible. Or if you're about to take a break, you could see if there is a park here, or you could see if there's a gas station, all those things. So I like most, and that's what I recommend. But again, it's your own preferences. Everybody's preferences are different, so you could make up your decision based on what you prefer. Alright, so the map view. I like 3D view, but I'm going to explain the difference between each different types of view. If you choose 3D view, you have the plane of the map will be in three-dimensional, as if, for example, let me get a piece of paper. So if this is a piece of paper, for example, I don't want to take somebody's business card. Let me see, where can I get a piece of paper? Oh, here's a piece of paper. So if this is this piece of paper is the map, with 3D view, the map will be like this. It will be like this way, like that. Okay, so that's why. Let me here. I like to show it on the phone. So let's. Okay, so this is. Let's say this is the map, right? If you choose 3D view, the map will be like this, tilted, kind of tilted, so it's easier to navigate than a flat map, like a three-dimensional map. Okay, what's the second advantage? If you choose north up, okay, if you choose north up, whatever direction you're going, the north on the map will be on the top. So if you're traveling south, you're going this way on the screen. And when you make a right turn, when you're traveling south, it will actually, the car or the vehicle will go left because the right turn is from the perspective of coming from north to south. Then your right turn will be west, which will be this way. So that's not a good idea. It's confusing. Track up is the second best one. This is the best one. This is the second best because of track up. Always, whichever direction you're going will be on the top, and the road or the section that you drove from will be at the bottom. So in this case, if you're going right, it will show the vehicle going to the right of the screen. If you're making a left turn, it shows the vehicle go to the left of the screen. But then you see much lesser of the maps because it's flat map. It's not three-dimensional, so I like the three-dimensional option. Okay, now we go to map outline. Map outlines, I like it off. I don't like it on because it will create a line where you have been before. It's only good if you're walking, because if you're walking in a forest and you're using the GPS for navigation, it will kind of show you if you're going in circles. It will basically make you aware if you keep going in circles, and you can avoid to go in a straight line. You can avoid going in circles, so you could go to a straight line and find your way out of the forest or somewhere. Okay, the vehicle is just the picture of the vehicle on the screen. It's nothing important. You could choose different types of cars, and you could choose trucks or arrows. That's not a big deal. You could choose, but is nothing important. Map info shows what kind of maps are installed. So on this unit right now, it's North America 2018.10 and it's United States only. This means this unit doesn't have Canada or Mexico, just United States. If there was Canada and Mexico included, this would say all, or it would say United States and Canada. Okay. Now we go back and let's go to system. And system, this is something that has to be off because this is only if you're going to certain areas where the European Union satellites are in use. Right now, everywhere in the world, you could leave it off because American satellites are basically all around the globe. But if you, let's say you are in a place where there wasn't any American satellites and you have to use European Union satellites or Russian satellites, then you turn this on. So then you turn it on. But currently leave it off. Safe mode is good if you're a dangerous driver. I will explain why. Safe mode will not allow you to enter any address information or anything on the GPS screen if the car is in motion. So if you want to enter an address, it will tell you have to pull over in order to enter an address. But if you turn the safe mode off, now you can enter an address even when your vehicle is in motion. I like it off because I always ask my wife, who sits on the passenger seat, to enter the address for me. So I don't punch in addresses while I'm driving. I pay attention to the road, and my children or my wife will enter the address for me. Garmin lock is off, but if you turn it on, you have to enter a 4-digit PIN, and once you enter the 4-digit PIN and you lock it, every time you turn on the Garmin, it will ask for that 4-digit PIN. The problem is that if you forget the PIN, you must go exactly in the same geographical location where the PIN was first set, and that it will automatically unlock in that area. So it's a good safety feature, but it's too much trouble every time to turn on the GPS and you have to enter the password. I rather leave it off. And if somebody isn't about to break into your vehicle to steal your GPS, your Garmin lock is not gonna deter them or discourage them from stealing. So let me say one thing important you need to know. Garmin lock is important for your privacy as far as your home. For example, if somebody breaks into your car, now they have your GPS, and if it's not locked, they could click on the GPS and say go home, and basically the GPS will guide them to your house when you're not even at home, you're somewhere else, because your GPS, let's say you're in a football game. Okay, so someone breaks into your car, steals your GPS, and then the GPS is unlocked. So now what they're going to do, they're going to click go home. When they click go home, they will drive to your house in their car and clean up the house and steal whatever there is, because they know you're at the ball game or at the stadium or something like that. So now the scenario, this is a possibility. I don't want you guys to be all worried that this might happen, but you need to be prepared. So that's why having a Garmin lock will protect your privacy. It will protect your home address from unwanted visitors, in this case the thief who stole your GPS. Okay, so that's why it's good to have this on. Okay, touch tone, this is good to be on because every click I make, see, you hear the voice. That is important too. It's like reassuring that your click went through. So I like that. So this about tells you about the GPS, like what version it is. Even though this unit was manufactured quite some time ago, like 5-6 years ago, but it's a really nice, well built workhorse. I really like it. Even the newer ones are not as sturdy, as strong as this one. Okay. So now we go to local settings, which is the language and the voice language. You can choose different voice languages like American English, Jack. I like that voice language. You could choose the unit of measurements. for North America, actually only for United States, even Canada and Mexico, their metric system, they do kilometers. But for North America, for United States, you choose miles. For everywhere else in the world, you choose kilometers. I believe England is using miles as well. But other than that, everywhere else is, including British colonies such as places that are Commonwealth with Great Britain, such as Australia, they're using kilometers. So kilometers more international, or I should say universal. Okay, so that's that. Display settings. Display settings, currently it's set to night vision. It's automatic actually, but you could go to nighttime, which is this, or daytime, which everything turns white and the writings are black. So that's daytime right there. So let me click OK so you could see how everything looks in daytime. So this is how everything looks in daytime. I'm gonna go back and change it to nighttime. And this is how everything looks in nighttime. So that, depends. It's good to have it in automatic, because then it will automatically change to night time and when it's dark. This way the GPS, which is mounted on your windshield, will not be a distraction or too bright for your eyes, so you can drive safely. Backlight, I choose to leave it always on, but you could make the backlight or the screen go dark after certain seconds or minutes. I don't like that, because if I'm in the middle of a navigation, I don't want the screen to go dark on me, so I like it to be on all the time. Recalibration of the screen is important to do. You don't have to do it every time, but if you happen to press one letter when you're entering an address, if you press one letter and a different letter is pressed, that means you need screen calibration. Then you go calibrate. You have to do it with a sharp point object. I'm using this calibration pin, but it doesn't have to be this. You could do it with anything. So you press the dot as it moves around, and calibration is complete. Okay, so the screenshot, if you want to take a picture of the screen, you can leave it on. I prefer it to be off. This is good if you're traveling somewhere and you want to take a picture of the map of that surrounding area, then you can take a screenshot. Splash screen, whichever screen, when the GPS turns on, that's the screen. For example, you could choose between these pictures. So this is the default picture that comes from factory, so that's the one I'm gonna keep. Okay, so we go back. Navigation. Faster time is the best one I like, but you have several options. You have faster time, short distance, off-road. If you choose faster time, it takes you through freeways and fast routes, but it could be longer distance. For example, if you choose shorter distance, it will take you to your destination from the shortest distance, but it could be longer time because it could have multiple traffic lights. So at the distance-wise, you're saving time. You're saving the gas, but time-wise, you're not. And when you look at it in the long run, even your gas you will spend more gas waiting on red lights and going slow and small roads and streets, traffic speed limits, compared to going much faster through a freeway. So I like faster time. Off-road, obviously, that's if you want to avoid all the streets and go off-roading, then you could choose that one. So now vehicle, what kind of vehicle you have? If you choose car, pedestrian, bicycle, truck, bus, you have to choose. If you choose pedestrian, it will never take you through places where pedestrian cannot go. If you choose bicycle, it will avoid highways. If you choose truck, it will not take you to dead ends where you cannot make a U-turn. Bus, same thing. So you need to choose what type of vehicle you have so that the GPS will calculate your route accordingly. Okay. Now avoidance enabled. This is very important. Avoidance is very important. And avoidance, whichever box is checked, okay, whichever box is checked, that is the place where the GPS will prevent going to. If you check the traffic, it will try to avoid traffics. If you check U-turns, it will avoid U-turns. People check this if they're driving a large RV, a bus, or a truck with which they cannot make a U-turn. So you have to see what your scenario is, whether you need to avoid that. Highways you must avoid if you're a pedestrian or if you are riding a bicycle. Unpaved roads you must avoid if your vehicle cannot go off-road. Toll roads you must avoid if you don't have cash on hand or credit cards to pay for the toll, or if you simply don't want to pay the toll. Now, sometimes paying the toll comes in handy. Like I was driving in Italy, the toll saved me a lot of time, even though it was like $15. Okay, ferries are little boats that take your ships, little ships that take the car from one side of the river or one side of the bay to the other side of the bay. And obviously you want to avoid that if your vehicle is too big to go on ferries. Okay, so I leave it disabled because for now. Attention tone, it's good to be on because it will give you a tone, a sound of a tone when something is about to happen. Voice prompt, guidance and status, that's good to leave it on that. Okay. Now Bluetooth. Bluetooth is enabled. You can add a phone. You can edit the friendly name. If currently this is the Nuvi model number, but you can edit that to a different name. Okay, so let's go back, scroll down, and last but not least, this is the traffic. We don't have a traffic receiver attached to this. That's a separate thing that you have to buy separately. But if we did, this is how you could set up the traffic and get subscriptions and whatnot. Okay, so that was the settings. Now brightness and volume adjust. This is your volume adjust, and that's your brightness setup, which is at max right now. I have it at max because I didn't want the screen to flicker when I'm shooting this video, because if you don't have it at max, see how it flickers like that. So that's why I didn't want that to be the case. To get a better picture, I left it at the top, at the highest level. Okay, now let's learn about how to use this. So we click on where to, and then if you have an address, you punch in the address and you punch in where you want to go. If you have a restaurant, for address you could change the city. For example, right now it's set to Illinois. You could spell the state. Let's say we want to go somewhere in Arizona. So you go to A and you just click A, and all the three states starting with A will come down in the list. Which is Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas. Now notice Alaska is not in the list because the map doesn't cover Alaska. That's why you don't see Alaska there. Okay, so if I want to go somewhere in Arizona, I punch in that, then I enter the address, spell the city. Let's say city is Phoenix, PH. There you go, Phoenix, and then I choose Phoenix and punch in more additional information. Okay, if you want to go to a place to eat, you click on food, and then it gives you the options: all food, American food, Asian food. And now it's very important that your maps be up to date, because not just because of the map, roads and streets change all the time, but also these restaurants could go out of business. I mean, if your map is old, you be hitting an American food restaurant and you will arrive to a out of business restaurant which has been closed for years. So if your map is up to date, then it will minimize the number of false business locations. Okay, this is if you want to go to a motel or hotel. It tells you the closest ones and the list of that. This is your locations, your favorite locations, which you can add yourself. This is to spell a name of where you want to go to, and so on. So about the favorites, when you click on favorites, if you click on go home, it will take you to your house. Of course, in this unit, home location hasn't been set yet, but if you click on favorites, then you could have list of friends or places where you like to go. Recent selection is places where you have been. So this is this GPS, it has been reset, so there is no recent selection. And my locations, places where you could add coordinates and whatnot. And you could click delete all and everything is cleared. Alright, so spell name. This is if you want to enter, let's say, a place you want to go. Let's say you want to go to Starbucks. You click S, you click T, A, R, B, U, C, K, Starbucks. Done. So there are 2 Starbucks within 3 to 4 miles, 5 miles. So these are the list of Starbucks close to me based on the location I'm at. Now this is important that when you're spelling name, you have to be outside with full GPS signal. Otherwise it will give you the nearest Starbucks of the last known location the GPS was at. For example, let's go there and see, I have 1 bar, so that doesn't even count. So basically I have no signal right now. Okay. Fuel, it's a no-brainer. It shows you the list of the nearest fuel stations. And let's go down. Intersection. This is very important to know. In a lot of countries, the addressing system is not accurate. So what people do is they give you the 2 intersecting streets names for you to drive to. For example, people will say, oh, my house is in the intersection of Broadway and 4th Avenue. Okay, so that's, you enter this and then you spell the which state and city and whatnot, and then let's say Phoenix, Arizona again. Let's go Phoenix. Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. No, actually, let's go back to Arizona. Let me go back to spell state, Arizona. So there's Arizona. Now spell city. Let's go Phoenix, PH, Phoenix, Arizona. Now enter street 1. So let's say Broadway, B-R-O, Broadway. Okay, now the spell the second street. Let's say 2nd Street. Done. So now it's gonna go to 2nd Avenue and Broadway, and no matches, so I have to choose a different name. Maybe 2nd Street will never. There you go. Broadway and 2nd, Phoenix, Arizona. You can click go. Okay, so that's how you do the navigation based on 2 roads, 2 streets or intersection. Attractions is all the tourist attractions, important attractions you can choose from and you can navigate to. Shopping, you could go to different malls. Now if you're by the way, with attractions you need to use this if you're traveling to a foreign country and you want to see important historical sites or other tourist attractions. So this comes in handy. Shopping, it's a no-brainer. Places that you can go to shop. Again, it shows you the nearest one and based on the type of shopping. All shopping, you want computer software places, convenience store, department stores, grocery stores. If you click grocery stores, you're hungry, there you go, different places nearby. Okay, alright, so parking, also no brainer. If you need to park the vehicle, you click on that, it shows you the nearest parking. And entertainment centers, recreations, community centers, cities. Browse the map. Browse map is very good because you can look at the map and pick a point. For example, this is St. Louis. So let's say I want to go to this park. I can click on that park, and it tells me what's the address of that park, and then I can click go. It takes me there. So the browse map is a pretty decent option. Hospitals, transit, this includes airports, bus stations, train stations, auto services, and coordinates. Oh my god, you have no idea how important this is. Coordinates is so important. And about this, I'm gonna look into the camera and talk to you. I was in Italy and going to this hotel that we rented a room, and this hotel was in a vacation city by the mountains, and the road was super complicated with like narrow passages, so tight that we had to fold the rear view mirrors of a vehicle, and we had a Q7. Excuse me. We had an Audi Q7, which is a wider vehicle. We had to fold the rear view mirrors in order to be able to navigate through it. So those places, they were the street names were so long and were so complicated. Each street name was as long as a sentence. So that's why the hotel people said it's much easier if I give you the latitude and longitude coordinates for our hotel, and you can enter it your GPS and come straight to that place, which was truly really easy. Because if you have the longitude, every point on the planet Earth, every single point, it has two addresses, which is the X and the Y axis. The X and Y axis is the longitude and latitude, and it's measured by degrees and minutes and seconds. And the third coordinate is the elevation of that point, which is the z-axis, x, y, and z. I'm not going to go into mathematical detail and confuse you, but all I'm saying is that each point has a GPS coordinate address which you can enter. Your own house, for example, you don't have to enter your home address to navigate to your house. You could enter the GPS coordinates to your house and get there. Now, not all GPS units will have the feature to navigate by coordinates. This GPS unit happens to have it, which is a very nice feature to have. Okay, so this is how you enter the coordinates, like north 38 degrees 48 minutes 13.7 seconds. Now this is north and west, but it could be south and east. You need to know south. You could enter south, or you could enter the east coordinates. Make sure that S and E or N, north, east, west, south, these are correct, because if it is not correct, a coordinate could lead in the middle of the ocean. So make sure that these are correct when you enter it, and you can change the format. That's the standard format, hour, minute, and seconds. These are British National Grid, and then our DDD. This is the one I'm familiar with, and people are familiar with and are more commonly used. So, but if the hotel gives you the coordinates in a different format, then here's how you change the format. Okay, so that was how to do the where to. Now view map simply shows you where you are at the map based on your location. This will show you your driving direction. No, this will show you your driving speed and all the information, overall speed, kilometers, and all that. Let's go back to menu. Now travel kit is something that's not included, but there's certain features that are included. For example, you could have MP3 songs and you could play.
Welcome to the Garmin Nuvi MP3 player.
Okay, so that's the MP3 player, which you could play. Usually these are empty, so you have to put your own songs. And then this is the user's guide, saver's guide and user's guide, travel guide. These are the things that are sold separately from Garmin. Language guide, this is sold separately. All these are like extra features that you can buy. Picture viewer comes audiobook player. This is the audiobook. Now, playing an audiobook, you could play it in the background. You can play an audiobook in the background while driving without any interference with your navigation. Every time there is a navigation instruction, the audiobook volume will lower and give you the navigation instruction. So basically, the navigation instructions will overwrite the audiobook or the MP3 player. Picture viewer is just to watch the pictures. World clock shows you what time in different countries. And currency converter, this is not very accurate because every time it changes. So you can update, and if you click update, you have to hook it up to your computer. So don't worry about the currency converter. For that, you can use your smartphone. Now, measurement converter is standard. It doesn't need to be updated. It tells you, like for area, centimeter squared to meter squared, or for distance, you could say millimeter to centimeter, or you could say kilometer to miles. So kilometer to miles. Let's say how much is 1 kilometer in miles. It's 0.621 miles. Now let's put it the other way around. How much is 1 mile in kilometer. It's 1.6 kilometer. So this is converts to for you, to give you an idea. And oh, by the way, this is the last but not least is a calculator, which comes in handy if you're traveling, believe it or not. So yeah, basically that's I believe I covered everything. I didn't leave anything unexplained. So yeah, that's how you use a Garmin Nuvi 350 or 360 GPS unit. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.